Shattered to unbreakable. Listen here, sweet sister. Whether you think you have one little crack or you are shattered into a billion pieces, this podcast is going to give you the resources, tools, and skills to help piece yourself back together to form a beautiful, unique, solid, and unbreakable masterpiece. You are listening to Shattered to Unbreakable, the Reclaim podcast. Let's talk. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Shattered to Unbreakable. And I'm your host, Brandi Babin. We have Aubrey with us today.
Hello.
And we're doing video.
Woohoo.
This is so exciting.
I know, I love it.
So those of you who are listening can't see that. But if you are watching, you can. So today we're talking about the mundane life. Because we just did a podcast on whether or not your mundane life is important. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to tackle why you might feel as though your life is mundane. And that is because when moment to moment, it's not always going to be exciting.
Right.
And I don't know if you're like me, but I find myself feeling unimportant between the important things. And I've noticed just in my own reflection and, mental time study, if you will, that I am more excited about the mundane days if I have an unmundane day ahead.
Yeah.
So if I'm planning something like a vacation, or there's a class, or it's date night, or I'm expecting something in the mail, that's where shopping can get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Little Amazon package coming. I'm actually boycotting Amazon, just for the record.
Yeah.
No, I haven't told everyone why, but I am. They're mean to me, so I don't use them anymore. So if any of you want to join me, it's very inconvenient to boycott Amazon, but it is worth it to my psyche. So anyways, okay, so what we're going to talk about is some of the things that I do and Aubrey does to get us through the mundane days into the next exciting thing. And what we've noticed is when we're looking at, even when we were talking about diversifying your goal portfolio, you can diversify this kind of goal portfolio of this mundanity. And we were looking at things that you can look forward to that are scheduled and they're like recurring. You can look forward to something that's big, but it's only like once a year.
Yep.
You can look forward to something that's daily, like your morning routine or your night routine. Some people love washing their face and feeling fresh and putting on their skincare. And some people love getting up in the morning, like you said, and drinking your coffee. And that's like your only quiet time of the day. And you're actually grumpy if you don't get that. I totally understand. I have the same things, like coffee and prayer in the morning. And hopefully the kids don't wake up before you do.
Yep.
Which has been happening a lot lately. My kids are rising early. And then we were talking about planning time for like the nothingness.
Yeah.
Like time for rest.
Yeah.
And I feel like rest is so underrated right now, and it's underexplored. And I'm just starting to hear people talk about rest being very important. On some of the podcasts I'm listening to, I'm finally hearing that.
Yeah.
This is how I know we're great, Aubrey, is we record things and talk about things, and then later I hear like the number one self-development guru talking about it on their podcast. I'm like, first of all, you stole that from me. Second of all, you posted it before I did, which really makes me mad because I know I talked about it before it came out. And third of all, I'm so glad we're on the right track.
Yes.
So I finally found a silver lining there. But when I was reflecting on the things I look forward to, because I noticed what brought this about was one day last week, I was actually having kind of a low day, but I couldn't finger point why.
Yeah.
I was like, there's nothing bad happening. There's nothing necessarily good happening. I'm just kind of feeling here today.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something a lot of people feel, and they're not sure if it's okay or not.
Yeah.
And so I was in that moment of, why do I feel just here? I wonder what this is. Part of me said, it's okay. This is actually a good break.
Yeah.
Because nothing bad is happening. And I've noticed, because I have ongoing emotional abuse happening, I still have some triggers. I still have some PTSD responses. And so I still feel as though I'm healed. Mm-hmm. However, there are parts of my life that I still have to work through. Right. I feel like that doesn't make you not healed. So, and we were talked about healing too, like, oh, you'll always be healing.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was driving along thinking about this, and I realized that I actually, when I have bad days or I have bad triggers or I have emotional abuse happen during the day, I listen to more podcasts and I listen to music. And then that day I was like, nothing bad happened. I don't really feel like listening to music because I don't want it to mess up my mood. And I don't really feel like listening to a podcast because I don't want to think too hard right now. I'm just really enjoying being kind of,
Yeah.
So that's different for me because I'm usually like, oh no, I have to be happy. I have to be positive. I have to be, and I feel like there's this real push towards constant positivity, and there's really not enough time to just sit in like nothingness or emptiness, or just like it just gives your body and your brain a break. So I thought that was really interesting. But then I thought, okay, when I'm in my really high ups, why am I that way?
Yeah.
Usually it's on a day that's date night. I love date night. Corey and my date night is every single week at the same time, and I know I can count on it. He knows he can count on it. We don't schedule things unless it's like every now and then. We don't schedule things on our date night. Yeah. It's kind of sacred to us, and I think we both look forward to that. And if you don't have a significant other, date night with your kid, date night with yourself.
Yep.
Date night with yourself is my favorite. We do have a free dating myself guide on the website. So if you are dating yourself, you can go look. And that's a freebie. So you don't even have to pay for that one. You just do that. There's actually a lot of journal stuff in that free one. So preview, hello. and then I was thinking about, okay, what else do I look forward to? And then I started realizing that Krav Maga is something that's stair-stepping to incremental goals. It's very important to me to have the accomplishment of the next belt.
Yeah.
So the first one was white belt, then is yellow belt, then there's orange belt. Now I'm looking forward to green belt, and I have to go to class or I'm not going to be good enough to get my green belt. So it's interesting that it makes me want to go. It makes me want to learn. But if I didn't have belts, I don't think that I would be as committed.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to have something to work toward that's, you have to hit this certain level to achieve it. I think that's why a lot of people like network marketing, because when I was in Mary Kay, same thing. There was this ring that I wanted to earn. There was this trip that I wanted to earn. There was this luncheon I wanted to earn. And so it kept me really motivated. So whether you're in network marketing or whether you just have a hobby that you like that has those, stair-stepping goals is important. Another thing I was thinking about is people who can just do some sort of college course to lead them to a dream they have. Yeah. You don't have to be fully enrolled in school, but if you could just do one class at a time, it gives you, this weekly, if you're in person, a weekly community to visit and something to work towards. If you're working towards a degree, each time you finish a class, you're closer to the degree. It's that dopamine hit every time you're furthering your dream, and then you are part of a community. So even if you're online, I don't think that the online classes have like actual Zooms or live things anymore, but I'm guessing that you could probably communicate with your classmates still. I'll have to look into that.
I'm sure. Yeah. I think that idea is really, I was just thinking about while you were talking, that for some things there's a goal to work toward, right? Like for Krav, it's the belts. For a class, there's a degree or the credit or whatever. But sometimes I think it's important, and this goes back to like diversifying your portfolio. Sometimes I think the goal is in the thing. Like there's not necessarily a reward for that thing, like
doing the thing is the reward, kind of.
Yeah, like in the morning, sitting in my chair drinking the coffee, being able to sit in my chair and drink the coffee.
That's the reward.
Yeah. So, and like not feeling like I want to snap at everybody in my life for the rest of the day. And I think that it's important to kind of celebrate the mundane things. And that sounds silly because, right, like I don't work outside of the home. So how am I supposed to get excited about another load of laundry? It's the same stuff. I wear the same clothes over and over again, right? It's the same stuff.
You don't even want to put them away because you're like, I'm just gonna wear it this week again.
I'm so bad at it. So how do I get excited about that, right? Like, something that I used to do, I've kind of fallen out of the habit of it, but something that I really love is there was this podcast that I love listening to, other than this one.
What? Ours isn't the only one?
It's not. But this podcast that I love listening to, so I would do laundry day on launch day.
Ooh.
Right? So then idea. I would put my podcast in and I would go do my laundry and have something that I enjoyed doing while I was doing something I did not.
Oh, I like that idea.
And there was somewhere else, I can't remember who, it wasn't my idea, but that they talked about tying a new habit that you want into something that you already are doing.
I like where you're going with this.
So, like coffee in the morning. We're all coffee drinkers, or there is something that you drink first thing in the morning.
Right.
So this is something that I feel like everybody can do. So if your goal was to, that's what it was. It was about Bible study. If your goal was to open your Bible every day, choose something that you do every day.
Yep.
And like having your coffee.
Tie
and you
it to
open
that.
your Bible when you have your coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes
like
sense. I love that. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All the yeses.
Yes.
To that idea. Okay, perfect. And then one other thing I was thinking of is it's nice to have a big thing to look forward to that's super exciting, especially if it involves saving money or getting in shape.
Yep.
Or like you said, tying that together. But like a vacation or a big concert once a year, or a bookcation. We had a bunch of our friends up to Estes Park for a bookcation.
That was so fun.
Oh my gosh, we literally read for what, 16 hours?
Yeah.
Just quietly reading in
great.
A cabin overlooking the mountains and lakes of Estes Park.
That was just gorgeous.
It was gorgeous.
It was.
And we just read books all day. So yeah, having some, and all of us appreciated it so much. It sounds like it's going to be at least an annual thing, if not biannually or more.
Yes.
So that was really fun. And that actually ties into one of our podcast episodes about finding your tribe and building your tribe, making sure that you invest in your female relationships to keep the friendships alive. And so it's super important.
Yes.
So this is a good spot to take a break, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about how society is actually playing into your thought process of why and how your life is mundane and how to sort of combat that. So we'll be right back.
If you're struggling with emotional and physical pain, it's time to discover the healing power of somatic massage and coaching. Let Jessa at Bright Life Massage and Wellness show you how to connect with your body and calm your mind in only a few sessions. Say goodbye to stress and hello to a new, more peaceful you. Contact Bright Life Massage and Wellness today and schedule a free call to see how Jessa can help. Find her information in the show notes.
And welcome back. Leave it to me to have Aubrey giggling during break so that we come back with fresh giggles for everyone.
Don't stop.
I know, I love it. I love your laugh. So we're going to talk about how society might be playing into the idea that your life is mundane. Because as we have talked about the last time we did a podcast on the mundane, is that it's actually not that mundane.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out that I understand that you're going to feel mundane, like we're talking about. Nobody just is thrilled to do the dishes for the 17th time this week.
Right.
And nobody loves folding laundry. I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
I am constantly doing laundry,
Yes.
constantly hanging the same shirts, constantly folding the same pants. And the kids will pull out a pair of pants, throw them on the floor because that's not their favorite one.
Yes.
Pull out another pair, throw them on the floor because that's not their favorite one.
Yes.
Then I'm struggling with which pants are clean or dirty because we have a German Shepherd. There's hair everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't even know if I've already washed this. And then here I am washing it again and trying to re-put, and then they keep pulling them out. It's complete madness. So I'm not saying that that your mundanity doesn't exist, because it does. But we were talking about how, you know, society, social media, it plays into the mundane idea because You could be sitting there. This has happened to me so many times, and my sister and I talk about it all the time, and Nicole actually. And we'll be sitting there, and we'll think, I'm just going to scroll for like 15 minutes. I've got 15 minutes. I scroll. Before you know it, it's been 2 hours, and it's 11 p.m., and that cortisol spike has kicked in. You get your second window, or your second wind, missed your sleep window, and now you're up for hours.
Yep.
Like, this happens to us all the time. But we were talking about not only is it wasting your time and your sleep and your sanity, but while you're scrolling, you're seeing everyone's best pictures of their best life. You're seeing everyone chasing their dreams. You're seeing everyone buying the new trends. You're seeing lots of ads that make you feel like your life is just not good without these things, which then puts a toll or takes a toll on your budget. And then obviously your feeling of not being good enough or advanced enough or trendy enough or pretty enough, or I'm not doing the lashes and the Botox and the hair extensions, but everyone else is. So it's kind of like that sports thing, like, well, everyone else is doing steroids, so if I don't do it, I'm not keeping up, kind of thing. So it's just like exhausting, but it is happening. So when you're scrolling through, like, I know that social media has played a huge role in my not feeling like a good enough mom. And that is when Thanksgiving comes around. And I have not really made a full Thanksgiving dinner for my family because we're so blessed to have family that always invites us over. And so I really don't know how to make yams. I'm guessing you just boil them and put them in a thing with marshmallows on it. I don't know, though. I've never done it. And I feel like less of a mom because my kids don't have marshmallow yams.
Ugh.
Yeah.
The horror.
The horror. So I just, and then, being able to take my kids to Disneyland. I don't know if I'll ever be able to take my kids to Disneyland. I heard that it's very expensive, and I have 4 of them.
Insane.
So but it makes me feel like, man, my kids aren't going to have that experience. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it creates more of the mundane thought in my head, and that's not really fair.
Yeah.
So as far as like battling the mundane, I honestly want to like throw a huge call to action in on this episode. That's get off social media for a week.
Yeah.
1 week, and see what it does to your schedule and your mindset.
Yep.
And I would also challenge you, and I know this is hard, but get off TV too.
Yeah.
And that's so hard for some people, but just go 1 week. Just try 7 days. Get a good book. Find something you're interested in learning about, or a good fiction. Yep. Fiction books are fun. Yes. I've noticed I have to throw in a fiction every about 2 nonfiction, 1 fiction. I can't just do nonfiction all the time. No. I have to have something fun to read. And so if you can just turn off the TV and put your phone down. Listening to music's fine. Podcasts are fine.
Yep.
I don't mind because you can do something while you're podcasting. Like you said, folding the laundry while you're podcasting.
Yeah.
Or listening to a podcast is really cool because you're learning as you go, and then it doesn't seem so bad because you're folding while doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to challenge everyone. Just take a little break.
Yep. 1 year, our church does this thing called 21 Days of Prayer every so often, and it's a time of prayer and fasting, and it's not necessarily fasting from food, right? Like if you're just a little blurb in here, if you're ever thinking about fasting from food, make sure that you're doing it safely. Make sure that you're having a conversation with your doctor before you do this. And anyway, there you go, PSA. So, but 1 year I fasted from social media specifically. And so for 21 days, no social media. And that stuck for a long time. I still don't post very often on social media. I do post every so often for my business.
Right.
There's just no avoiding that, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, that one stuck for a good long time. And then 1 year I fasted from TV. I had this habit of watching TV every night, And I just didn't like it. I didn't like how it
Right.
made me feel. I was staying up too late.
Yep.
And then I was groggy in the morning. I was
Yes.
missing my chair coffee time, which was affecting my entire day. So I fasted from that, and it was just lovely.
Yes.
It's hard. I'm not saying that it's easy, because you get into this routine, right? It's tied to, like we were talking about, tying habits to other habits. So it was tied into my bedtime routine. I would put the kids
Right.
to bed. I would get in my pajamas. I would turn on the TV. So untying that
Yes.
can be kind of hard. And you can't just stop, right? Like, you have to put something else in the cup.
Right.
If you're going to not drink, if you're giving up coffee, you have to have something else in the cup. Switch it for water. You can't just leave a void.
People who try quitting smoking sometimes have that little fake cigarette pen. Some people who try quitting chew, they have to have something in their lip, because it's that feeling of having it there that's hard to break, or the motion, or you know what I mean? So
Yep.
I definitely agree, because if you just stop, you're going to be like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah, yeah.
But you're going to find things that actually serve you.
Yeah.
Watching TV is not serving you.
No.
Scrolling social media is not serving you. I have learned that I really only get on social media to further my business mostly. I don't have time to post about what I'm doing in my family. Plus, I have safety concerns with posting where I am and what I'm doing all the time. Plus, I also just want to enjoy my kids and what I'm doing. I don't want to... I noticed that when me and Corey would go on our dates and things like that, I was constantly trying to document the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, can we just put our... He's so good about putting his phone away.
Yeah.
Can we just put our phones away and enjoy this moment? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Why am I doing this?
Yep.
You know, and I still like to film him, but that's just because I think he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love his blue eyes and his pretty smile. This is all about what I love about Corey right now. But
Yeah.
no, it's been so freeing, and I've gotten so much time back by just putting down the phone. And then I've also done a lot of research lately about blue lights and what it does to your melatonin levels. So the more you're on your phone, especially at night, you should stop either watching TV or being on your phone 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed.
Yep.
Because if that blue light's hitting your eyes, it's telling your brain it's time to wake up.
Yep.
And then you have to, as soon as you turn your phone off, it takes your body 1 to 2 hours to get in sleep mode. So if you're putting your phone away at 11:30, 12 o'clock every night,
Yep.
you're not sleeping well till 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So just grab a book. Your eyes will get tired.
Yep.
And you'll fall asleep faster.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, if it's a fiction one, I wouldn't read your nonfiction ones at night unless you're really good at paying attention. Mine, I'm always like, ugh.
Yeah.
But your fiction ones, you can kind of just fill in the gaps of the story.
Yeah. You know what I found? Because that's what I did when I quit, when I fasted from screens. I was reading. But sometimes, like, after a full day, so I homeschool, right? I'm a mompreneur, and my brain couldn't do it. I would pick up a book and I was like, I don't want to work, right? Like, that's what it felt like. My brain was like, no.
Yes.
I'm all done. So I would listen to audiobooks.
There you go.
And I would just lay there
Oh, good idea.
and listen.
Yeah.
And it was great.
That's a good idea. And journaling, too, is amazing for helping you sleep, too, because it gets all those racing thoughts out.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to journal about anything specific. You can just literally write whatever comes to mind.
Yep.
I used to really, really, really love I had a gratitude journal, and I learned this from the book Chop Wood, Carry Water. If you've not read that book by Joshua Medcalf, I've read it like 5 times. There is a gratitude exercise in there where you're supposed to write 15 things you're grateful for every night before you go to bed. And it says you're not going to be able to get to 15 right away. So start with 2 or 3, and then the next day write 4, and then the next day do 5, and then the next day do 6. And so I have this really cool journal from that point of my life where I would write down everything I was grateful for that happened that day, and it could be as little as I clipped my toenails too.
Yeah.
You know, like just little accomplishments and things I was grateful for. And sometimes it was the same thing every day. Like, I'm grateful that I had time for coffee and prayer today. And it could be that every single day you're grateful for that because it's something you're grateful for. But it did help me go to sleep peacefully, thinking about all the things that make my life amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would notice that I would have better dreams and I would wake up in a better mood.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if I could leave you with one thing today that would like help you battle the mundane life, it would be, well, one thing. Okay, 7 things. No, just joking. 3 things. I am calling you to put down your phone
Mm-hmm.
and turn off the TV for 7 days. And then, what's the last one I just said? Gratitude journal.
There you go. There, I was like, yes, I was listening.
Real life, people.
Yeah. So I was thinking about, because we're talking about battling the mundane life, right? And this idea of like, put down your phone and be in the moment.
Yes,
I think that's the best way to battle a mundane life. Even if you're doing laundry for maybe the 3rd time that day.
I know.
Even if you're doing the dishes, right? Like, I get really excited about my coffee mug. I don't know how many of you out there have your coffee mug,
Yes.
right? Like, it just
That's a
tastes
thing.
better
That's a thing.
out of this particular mug. And so I get really excited to put that mug in the dishwasher. So I'm like, I get to drink out of my mug in the morning. I'm so excited, right? And this like particular pair of pants, I get so excited when I get to put them in the dryer because I'm like, I get to wear my pants. And it, you know, like just living in the moment with the mundane things. And I try really hard to like sitting outside with my kids, because it's always like, Mommy, will you play with me? Will you watch me play? Will you? And sometimes, you know, I try really hard to say yes to that. But every once in a while, it's like, you know what? I will watch you. I will sit right here and watch you. That's what I have the energy for. And it's hard to stop your brain from like, but I have to do this.
It is.
And going down the list, right? So just watching, like, catching my daughter's laugh or something like that, you know, like that moment. That quote unquote mundane moment is worth sitting here for. That so all true. That other stuff can wait. And just being in the moment. Find something, tie it to a habit that you're looking forward to, something that you're not looking forward to, tie them together.
Yeah.
To make that a little bit easier. Enjoy the little moments. Find something exciting about that brand new clean pair of pants.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
I love that. Yes. Appreciate the little things. Oh, so good.
I love this idea of finding time every week to do something that you look forward to. And I love, you know, you were talking about date night. That's a great option. Date your person, date yourself, go out with a bestie, whatever. But I also love what we were talking about earlier is planning time for nothing. And maybe that's sitting and doing nothing. But my favorite thing, our kids were doing Awana up until recently because they're on summer break every Wednesday. So we had an hour and a half where I knew the kids were safe, taken care of, learning good things. And I had no agenda for those Wednesday nights. Sometimes I sat and did nothing. Sometimes I got stuff done. Sometimes we did date night. So I love that kind of like leaving room for spontaneity, because when you have responsibilities, when you have kids, a job, whatever it is, you can't just like at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday be like, you know what, I'm going golfing. Your boss is going to be like, excuse you.
Yes.
Maybe we don't, you know? So like when you're a grown up and you have responsibilities, it's hard to just be truly spontaneous.
Yeah.
So it might sound a little counterintuitive, but like planning for spontaneity, right? Like Wednesday night at 6:30, I'm going to do whatever the heck I feel like.
I love that.
On Wednesday at 6:30.
Right.
And yeah, it's just going to be what it's going to be.
Sometimes I have to schedule a whole day just to do nothing. That way, whatever comes up, comes up.
Yeah.
But I have to block it out. And at least once a month I do. I block out one day of just, I have zero plans and I'm not making plans.
Yeah.
And it's so nice because when that day comes, I literally wake up and I'm like, I can do whatever I want today. Okay, so hopefully on today's episode, you have learned to battle the mundane, yet also appreciate the mundane as not being mundane, but a healthy, restful peacefulness that you look forward to. And we talked about diversifying this portfolio of things to look forward to keep your energy up, something to have daily, weekly, and maybe yearly, sometimes maybe quarterly, little goals. Have some sort of goal that has an incremental stair-stepping of achievements. And so then you just have this nice little array of things that keep you excited. And then while you're looking forward to that moment, you can rest in the mundane and just appreciate it.
Yes.
I am so glad we got to connect on this podcast. It's been an honor, and I wanted to give you some more resources. We have a website called reclaimjournal.com where you can look at more skills and tools, including coaching sessions, brain spotting sessions, and the Reclaim Journal. These podcasts are free to listen to, but they're not free to make. So we will be having some ads. However, we do have an ad-free option. So if you would like to subscribe, not only will you get ad-free podcasts, but you'll also get bonus content episodes. We'll see you next week.